Japan Makes Me Scared, a podcast to the chilling realm of Japanese horror stories. My name is Junpei, and I will invite you to the mysterious world of Kaidan, exploring spine-tingling experiences that have haunted Japan. Konbanwa minasan. Welcome back to another episode of Japan Makes Me Scared. I'm Junpei, your host, and I'm gonna share various horror, scary stories of Kaidan in this podcast. Today's question is, how do you usually interact with scary things? I think most people like watching horror films, reading horror books, and listening to scary stories as you're doing right now. Or some of you might have some sort of spiritual power, so you can physically see or feel it if that's the case. And let me introduce another way that is a common horror activity in Japan. That is, visiting haunted places. We call it Shinrei Spot Meguri in Japanese. It literally means just going to some spot where there are stories or rumors about ghost sightings or scenes of some crimes and accidents. And what's more about it is that people often do that in the summertime. You know why? Because it's too hot here in summer, so we want to feel a little cooler. A very logical and wise choice, isn't it? When you Google like Shinrei Spot plus some area name in Japanese, you get hundreds of results back. That includes tunnels, bridges, parks, and some buildings like hotels and hospitals. And some have been abandoned, and others are still used daily, but the atmosphere changes at night. Like that, there is no limit to the combinations. Today's story is also an experience from visiting one haunted place. Let's move on to the storytelling part. Episode 8, Tyre Tracks. The original story is from Ryokichi Iyama. He's a comedian and kaidan teller. He works for a kaidan bar through the night in Shinjuku, Tokyo, where you only pay about $30 for all you can drink and listen to kaidan stories live from several kaidan tellers. By the way, this is a pretty good deal and an interesting place if you like kaidan. So if you happen to be Japanese speakers living in Tokyo area, you should definitely go and try it. Anyway, this story was one of his experiences when he was younger, before becoming a kaidan teller in public. From here, I will describe I as Ryokichi himself for convenience. I used to go to many haunted places when I was younger. The story I'm gonna tell is about the first haunted place I went to. I've been with people who love kaidan stories my entire life, so obviously, all my friends are into scary things as much as I am. We can call my friends Ken, Yuma, and Takeshi for now. One day, Takeshi bought his first car, and we decided to go for a drive. Where shall we go? Let's go to a haunted place. It was a very natural thinking process for us. Yes, for sure, because we all love scary things. When we ask ourselves which haunted place we should go, I live in Kanagawa Prefecture, which is next to Tokyo, not too far from it. I did a search for haunted places in Kanagawa a lot of places came up. Then we picked one. It's a tunnel deep in the mountains. It's not a complete abandoned tunnel, but the road at the end of the tunnel was already gone. So technically, it was abandoned because it was not usable anymore. Anyway, we set off in the middle of the night to go there. The four of us were chatting and going deeper and deeper into the mountains. Then, there were fewer and fewer houses, and the lights started to fade. By the time we got to the mountains, it was pitch black. There are no lights at all. The only light was the headlights of a car. We kept going. Then, there's a gate that says you can't drive through. So we had to get out of the car and walk a bit. Then we saw the entrance of a tunnel. Whoa, there's a scary atmosphere there. Like something scary is about to happen. That was a feeling we all had. Well, we came here to have scary feelings anyway, so we decided to go in. But eventually, nothing happened at all. It was so dark, and we only had a handlight each, so we had to walk slowly there. But that was it. We reached the end of the tunnel with no problem. What should we do? Well, let's turn off the lights and go back one by one. We tried that, but nothing happened when we went back as well. It was honestly a disappointment. But we had no choice but to go home. So we returned to the car, made a U-turn, and left the tunnel. We went down the road in a huff. Then I was looking at the window, and I went like, "What is it?" Ken asked, "What's wrong?" "Look, there's a wreck hut." Since the tunnel was a disappointment, I wanted to do more for that night. So I continued like, "Do you guys want to go to the hut? Maybe we still have some hopes to experience something scary there." "Yeah, great idea. Why not?" Yuma seemed to be on board with my idea. So we decided to have a stop at the hut before heading home. But as we got closer and closer, we found out something. There was a driveway, but there's a step of about 2 meters high from the road. Then there's a flat area over there. The hut was at the end of that level ground. You know, there's height difference. It seemed like we couldn't get to it with the car. "Well, pull over here then." Ken said that. It seemed to be the only option anyway. "Alright, let's get off and head up." Yuma and I were following Ken. But Takashi, who was the owner and the driver of the car, didn't get out of the car. "What are you doing? Are you scared of something?" We kinda made fun of him, but he simply said, "No, I'm not scared. It's just we're in the middle of the road. You never know if other cars come, and I've got to move when they do. That's why I will stay here." Well, yeah, that makes sense. And if that's the case, there was nothing more we could say. So we left Takeshi, and the three of us climbed the step. There was a hut about 20 meters up. It was indeed a strange place. While trees and plants were growing thickly, the area around the hut was bare earth. It looked very weird. Ken said, "What is that?" "Scary than tunnel, isn't it?" said Yuma. And I aligned with them like, yeah, I was gonna say that too. As we are getting closer in the dark, I had to light up the ground not to fall. Then, suddenly, I found a trail of tires between us and the hut. I thought, wait, how could these tire trucks be here? You remember that I said there was a difference in height? That was why we left the car and came here on foot. Why are there tire trucks here? Where did they come from? When I followed the line with the light, the trucks just came out of the trees. We had come for the hut, but I was actually more curious about the tire trucks now. I wondered where they would lead. So I said to Ken and Yuma, why don't we put the hut behind us and follow these tire trucks? Yeah, that sounds more interesting. Let's follow the trucks. Ken and Yuma also seemed interested. Then we changed the direction. The moment we started walking along tire trucks, there was pam 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 pam. There was a sound of honking. What? We jumped and turned around. It seemed to be from the car, and we could see Takeshi looking very panicked and honking horns. We couldn't hear what he was saying, but his hand gesture seemed to say, "Come on, get down here now." We didn't understand what was going on at all, but we ran back to him because he looked so serious. We got in the car. Takashi said, "Did you guys get in? Are you all in?" I replied, "Yeah, what is it?" But he didn't really answer, and "Okay, so we're leaving now." What is going on? Ken also seemed concerned and wanted to know what happened. But Takashi kept going like, "Let me focus on driving safely now, so there'll be no accidents. So please just shut up for a second." While we drove down the mountains, nobody spoke at all, and there was silence for some time. After a while, there was a convenience store. Takashi pulled over in the car park there. He said, "Okay, it should be fine now." I asked, "What's going on?" He said, "Did you not see it?" "We didn't see what?" He continued, "The big Torii gate. Did you not see that?" Torii is a gate usually placed at entrance of a Shinto shrine, so obviously, there was no such thing when we were up there. Ken said, we didn't see Torii there." "Are you sure that it was really Torii?" "Yeah, I saw it for sure." Yuma also asked, "What about that Torii?" Then Takashi started talking about his side of the story. He was watching us from down there in the car. He saw us heading directly to the hut. Then he noticed there was a big Torii gate right next to it. Also, something was buzzing behind the gate. It was dark, so he couldn't see it clearly at first, but after staring at it for some seconds, gradually it became clearer. It was something white moving. And that white thing is a lot of people dressed in white. What is that? Then they suddenly stopped moving and they started beckoning to us. Takashi said, At that moment, the guy suddenly changed direction and started walking toward the torii. So I thought it was dangerous. That's why I honked my horn. What were you thinking of going that way? That was his story, so we explained about the Tyre Tracks. We could only get back because Takashi was honking there. But what if we had gone straight in the direction of that torii gate? We went back to silence again in horror. Oh, Shimai, thank you very much for listening to the story. Did you find it interesting as well? What do you think those white people were inside the torii gate? What did they try to do? They were invisible to Ryokichi, Ken, and Numa, so I assume they were not even living people. And also, torii gate usually stands at the border between everyday life and a sacred place. So one of the theories is that they try to take the free into their world for some reason. By the way, do you have any theories of yours? I've got a Discord channel where anybody can join and share thoughts and theories. And of course, I'll be there as well. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, so please join and enjoy interactions if you would. This podcast, Japan Makes Me Scared, is available on almost all popular podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or Amazon Music. And also, if you push the follow button on the app of your choice. First of all, for me, it'll be a huge support and motivation. And for you, you will not miss notifications for the release of future episodes. So please consider following my podcast as well. Alright, we're getting close to the end, so let me say one thing. Arigatou gozaimasu again for listening to my podcast, Japan Makes Me Scared, and sayonara for more children thrills next time. Bye!